So at home, one of the projects I've started working on with some of my time is I've got this desk that I got at an auction, and that desk, it was like $5, and the guy that used to have it, he used it as a workbench. There's my assistant coming into the frame there. And so underneath this desk, it's like a lot of wasted space. You can see I just kind of cram stuff down there. I've got, over here, I've got my chisels. I've got a set of wrenches and car jack stands. I've got a fan, clock parts, and stuff like that. And so what I've decided to do is I'm going to fill that under spot with a cabinet, or actually two cabinets with drawers, so that way I can store some of my stuff when it's under there, since otherwise it's just wasted square footage in the garage. So here's the post piece after the CNC machine has cut out the sides. This is the sides, the top and the bottom. This is the front. I got this stuff at Menards. It's called ACX. It's like a sanded outer piece of plywood so that it looks sort of nice, but you can see it's got some little spots here that they've filled and cut stuff out. And then on the back, not so nice. And it's a plywood, so it's made up of different layers. And as you look down here, you can see that these layers are not beautiful. So this is generally not for making cabinets, but this is going underneath my desk, so I don't really care too much about that. I went ahead and had the CNC machine pre-drill my holes, at least my first two holes for my drawer slides that are gonna go on there. And you can see on the back here, it's done a rabbet at the top that's 3/4 of an inch deep, so that way the 3/4 inch top can just sit right on there. And in the back, only a 1/2 inch deep, because I'm just putting a 1/2 inch piece there to finish off the back. And then we have a 3/4 inch rabbet on the bottom. Now a rabbet is just kind of like a cutout that will kind of leave some room for something. It's one of the many joining techniques they use in cabinetry. And so I'm going to have to sand these, because you can see these rough spots here. So I'm going to go ahead and sand those. And I'm going to get started now. Okay, so I went ahead and I installed the drawer slides on the sides of my cabinet. I got one side here, and I've got one side here. They're not completely installed though. In fact, I've got one screw at the front. I'm basically going to take my square, make sure that all of the base is square, except for you can see where it flares down here. That's the part of your cabinet, part of your drawer slide that keeps your drawer from just falling out. So when you first pull your drawers, you'll notice a little resistance, and it's just because of that tiny little dip right there. So I'm going to use my square at the front to measure where my starting height is. I've already actually gone and set that. So when I get it squared up there, you can see that I'm square, and my distance isn't going to change as I go across. So now I'm going to put some of those back screws in, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the top. The top will pose a unique challenge. I can't measure it from the bottom, so I will have to measure it from the top using either a tape measure or another sort of device. So now that I've got my bottom rail set up, I can go ahead and take my drill, and I've sized up my drill bit here. And what I need to do is go ahead and set it up for the depth. So I'm going to take a little bit of masking tape, and I'm going to wrap that around the end of the bit so that I don't end up going too deeply into the wood. And then I'm going to drill a few holes in my rail right there, and then put some screws in using my impact driver, which I've got sitting right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll follow up. Okay, so what I did here is I took my the bits that came with the drawer slides, and I just kind of held it up here so that I could get just the depth, wrapped a little bit of tape around the shank of the drill bit so that I don't go too deeply. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and drill into my cabinet side here. Now it comes with three different size hole. You see the slotted hole sort of right here. Let's see, right there. And then I've got a bigger hole there, and I've got a smaller hole. I'm gonna go through actually my rear smaller hole, or maybe the one next to it, so I don't change too much of the pitch of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill that right now. You can hear my dog in the background. Okay, came out to clear the chips. There's my hole, and now I can go ahead and put that screw in with the impact.